Coming up on the hotline with us is the Oklahoma Families for Affordable Healthcare Executive Director Julie McKone. Julie, good morning.
Good morning, Jason. Thank you for having me again.
No problem, no problem. Thank you for coming on, and wanted to bring you on because you have a concern about a certain bill floating around the legislature right now that says that it's about affordability or it's dental care reform. So tell me a little bit about this bill.
So it's Senate Bill 1942, and there is a companion bill on the House side, which is House Bill 4329. And it's being touted as a transparency bill. However, our concern is that it's actually not transparency, and it's going to increase costs for Oklahoma families. So while we deeply value dentists and the role they play in keeping Oklahomans healthy, our concern is affordability. And we believe these bills could increase out-of-pocket dental costs for Oklahoma families.
So go ahead.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask you. So, what did the authors intend for the bill to do here? And I mean, when they're saying it's supposed to add some accountability and things like that, but it may not. Our transparency, it may not. So, tell me a little bit about this bill.
So, the authors say that this will restore pricing authority to dentists, that it prevents insurance companies from dictating fees, that it increases transparency. But the truth is, right now, when a dentist joins a dental network, they voluntarily agree to contracted rates for services. And those rates protect patients from being billed inflated retail prices. So even when, a patient pays out of pocket because of plan limits. So let's say, for example, your plan covers 3 crowns and you go to the dentist and you need 4 crowns. When you get to that 4th crown, even though it's not covered by your insurance, a benefit of your insurance plan is that the dentist can't charge you above that contracted rate. And so contracted rates provide, they provide predictability, they provide lower out-of-pocket costs, protection from surprise billing, protection from excessive charges and treatments. And under these bills, dentists would no longer have to honor those contracted rates for certain services. So that means patients could be charged more than the agreed upon rate with their insurance company. So, put simply, it removes the pricing ceiling that currently protects customers.
I see. And so this would be simply like, hey, you've only got so much coverage. Once you go over that coverage, you're usually responsible for it, but because you're under a certain health care plan, health insurance plan, they have certain prices already negotiated for you. Is that kind of what I'm hearing? How it's status quo works?
Exactly. So so that's a benefit of your dental plan. Yes.
Okay. And so this can leave it open to where say let's go back to the 4 crown thing. 3 of the crowns are covered, but the 4th one isn't, and you could end up paying more than what your insurance company is paying.
Absolutely, because at this point, they can't charge you more than that. There's a ceiling, and this will remove that ceiling, so you're sitting in the dental chair, and, when you're in the dentist chair, you don't have time to go shop around and find out if that's a fair price from a dentist, right? You don't know what services are going to be required before you go into the dentist usually. And so you have some confidence built in when you go in that my plan has this covered. They've contracted a fair price, right? Mm-hmm. And this is going to remove that.
Okay, all right. So, I got a feeling that Oklahomans probably don't go to the dentist as regularly as they should.
That's right.
So could this create another issue outside the legislature when it comes to people's health?
Absolutely. So we already know from recent polling that we've done that nearly 40% of adults in Oklahoma went without a dental visit in 2024. And even when there are modest cost increases, people delay dental treatment, and delayed dental treatment becomes emergency care, which is more expensive for everyone. Affordability is already a serious crisis in Oklahoma. We hear from families every day making tough choices. We had one patient recently tell us that they're waiting for open enrollment because they can't afford out-of-network charges. So, it's right now, the way it stands, patients and dentists still can determine their care together, right? That
Right.
doesn't change. But when a dentist joins an insurance network, it's a voluntary agreement. So in exchange for agreeing for a contracted rate, the dentist gains access to the insurance patient network, right, which helps drive business to their practice. And for families, which is who we're concerned with, that contracted rate means lower, more predictable out-of-pocket costs, right? It creates stability and it protects patients from being charged higher retail prices. So as it stands, we feel it's a balanced exchange, right? It benefits both the providers and the patients. And that contracted rate protects families. So, you know, when it comes to like shopping around, dentistry isn't like buying a TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
Patients don't know what procedures, like I said, they don't know what procedures they'll need until they're examined. And so, you know, you can't comparison shop while you're sitting in a dental chair. So we believe that this bill actually does not increase transparency. We believe that it removes the pricing protection, and like you just said, that's can be detrimental for health and dental care for Oklahomans down the line.
Right, right. We're speaking with Julie McKone with Oklahoma Families for Affordable Health Care, and they're concerned about Senate Bill 1942 and its companion measure in the House Bill 4329. Basically, they're putting some dental insurance reforms into place through these bills, but it could create a bigger burden for the patients on the other end. And that's what your organization's bringing about. Let's talk a little bit about your organization. Who are the Oklahoma Families for Affordable Health Care?
So Oklahoma Families for Affordable Health Care is an independent, nonpartisan voice for families and businesses focused on health care affordability. And so as executive director, my focus is simple: protect families from rising health care costs and ensure care remains accessible.
Absolutely. And so so how far along has this bill made it in the process so far?
So far, Senate Bill 1942 has completely passed through the Senate, so it's on its way over to the House. House Bill 4329, the companion bill, is not quite as far along in the process, but I mean, we think it's pretty likely that it will pass. So I do think people need to engage on this issue, ask questions, you know, contact your senators and your House members and ask them, you know, who does this benefit? How is this transparency? And really, the most simple question, does this bill lower costs for patients or does it raise them? We personally have not seen evidence that it lowers costs, but we have seen evidence that it will raise them.
Gotcha. All right. And so overall, it looks like it's on its way to, this House, it's on the way to the House. I'm trying to keep things straight here. I'm sorry, Julie.
I know, but I was confusing.
Because I'll start getting into the process and start thinking about, okay, over in the Senate you got this, and you got in the House you got two committees, and you know,
it's a complex process. Yes,
right,
but
right.
yes, the Senate bill is on its way to the House. It has passed the Senate floor, so it's on its way to the House to pass through that chamber.
Is there a chance to amend the bill through the process to protect patients a little bit better?
Yes, absolutely. There are chances to amend it. So they're not too far beyond that. That could happen.
All right. And what would be, if you were able to write that amendment and put it out there for the lawmakers to consider, Julie, what kind of protections would you like to put in for the patients?
Gosh, you know, I need to look at the bill language exactly to know the answer to that.
I'm sorry, I put you on the spot and try to, hey, I'm going to make you a lawmaker and make you write the bill.
But, you know, I mean, just in general thinking, you know, why not write in there that it has to be at or below the contracted rate? But I think that's already the way it is. So,
Gotcha.
So I you know, I don't want to misquote myself. These things are complex and.
Absolutely. Well, Julie, once more, let's go over the bill. It's Senate Bill 1942. It is headed to the House. There's another one, House Bill 4329. That one is in committee over on the House side. And you're basically calling for folks to talk to their legislators about this bill.
Absolutely. We always believe you should contact your legislators and stay engaged in these issues. You know, At a time when Oklahoma families are already struggling with health care costs, we should not pass legislation that risks making dental care more expensive. Affordability has to remain the main priority.
All right. That's Julie McKone, and she is the executive director of the Oklahoma Families for Affordable Healthcare. And Julie, as always, love having you on the show, and thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much, Jason. Have a great day.
All right. You do the same.